Today we are going to do some hands-on with one of the firewall in this three known firewall combo. So I'm going to take a demo with Paloalto firewall, okay, and then other firewalls. Those who are looking for a demo, so to know about my teaching style and then everything. So I will share the other firewall recorded videos as well for your reference. Okay, you can go through that recorded videos, and if you're interested, then you can join in this batch, guys. Okay, so as I mentioned, so now I'm going to take a demo with Paloalto firewall. Okay, so for about lab access, everything we already discussed, right, in our last session, previous session itself, right? So for a demo purpose, here I'm having Paloalto firewall in our virtual lab setup. So these tools and software and lab setup, everything we will teach you in a live session, so you no need to worry about it. So now this today's session is it's concerned about how to access your Paloalto firewall very first time. So as an administrator, how to access the console of Paloalto firewall through CLI and GUI, and very first time, what are all the default configuration settings available in Paloalto, how to modify that, right? So that and all we are going to discuss today. And as I mentioned, other advanced topics, some advanced topic in Paloalto and other firewalls and everything I'll share with you for your reference, because all these three firewalls actually logically it's a five firewall, right? All these five firewalls we cannot give you a demo within 1 hour, right? So within 2 days, 2 hours totally. So yesterday we spent the time to discuss about the curriculum itself. So now we have only 1 hour. So within 1 hour, we cannot spend all the firewall, right? Time for all the firewall. So I'll give you the recorded video for your reference, guys. Okay. So let's start the demo with Paloalto firewall. If you're a administrator and you're getting a fresh Paloalto firewall, right? And your team asks you to configure your Paloalto firewall very first time. So what are the prerequisites you need, and how to handle the Paloalto firewall console through CLI and GUI very first time, and what are the options we have, everything we will explore now. Okay, so let me show you the Paloalto image. So this is the Paloalto image of Paloalto firewall 800 series firewall, 850 model number is 850. Okay, so if this is the back panel, front panel of your Paloalto firewall. Okay, so this is your management port, guys. Okay, so this is your sorry. This is your management port, sorry, not that one, this is a HA port. This is your management, which is already highlighted, right? So this is your management port. This is an Ethernet port, Ethernet management port, if it is a hardware firewall. So Paloalto available in both the platform like hardware and VM. They have a dedicated hardware and they have a VM, software-based firewall. Okay, so both available. If you are having opportunity to work with Paloalto hardware, so Paloalto hardware by default, this Paloalto hardware have a dedicated management interface, dedicated management Ethernet interface, which is pre-configured. So your Paloalto firewall management interface coming with the pre-configuration, if it is a hardware firewall, okay, not for VM. If it is a hardware firewall, we have a dedicated management interface, and that interface is pre-configured with the IP address 192.168.1./24 network, IP management IP, and then this management interface for administrative purpose. This interface by default, it will accept the ping services SSH and HTTPS. These three services by default enable with this management interface, guys. Okay, so by using these three services only, we are going to access through SSH. We can take a Paloalto CLI console as administrator from your you are going to connect your management PC from your Paloalto firewall management interface, and you need to connect with it. So it is a fresh firewall, right? So you need to connect with as per your management network. By default, we have a dedicated management interface, and that management interface have a IP 192.168.1.1. So your management PC should have a same network. You should, as administrator, to access the console very first time, you should connect your management PC with your Paloalto firewall management interface. So you need to connect with the same network, management network, 168.1.0/24 network, any IP. 1.1 is already configured with the Paloalto. So some other IP you need to assign in this network in your management PC. Then after that, by using a ping services, so after assign the IP, you need to verify that whether I am having a reachability or not with my Paloalto firewall from my management PC. So for reachability checking, network reachability purpose, we are using the ping protocol, right? So if you get the reply properly, then we have a reachability, right? So your Paloalto firewall management interface should receive this ping protocol, ping services should accept the ping protocol. So that's why by default, dedicatedly, they enable this interface with a dedicated IP address and these three administrative services. So ping is used to check the network reachability, and SSH used to, after having a reachability, as an administrator, I'm going to take my Paloalto console and I'm going to configure whatever my production network needs. Like here, let's assume that. So this is our network, right? So here I have connected my Paloalto. I'm going to connect my Paloalto firewall with LAN, DMZ, and outside network. I need to protect all my networks, so I need to create a policy and a rule. Policy and an object. I need to enable some services. So whatever I need to protect my network, I need to do everything. I need to do it through the Paloalto firewall. By accessing, as an administrator, by accessing the console of my Paloalto firewall, then only I can able to do that, right? So so this is how you can see that my management network is connected with the one PC, that is management PC. Okay, so the same way you need to connect, and from that management PC only I can able to access the console of my Paloalto firewall through CLI. I can take a console through CLI, or I can take a console GUI. So for CLI console, if you are looking for a CLI console, either Telnet or SSH, these two services for administrative purpose, these two services will allow you to take a console through CLI. Since this is the firewall, right? It will trust more secure protocol only. Telnet is not a secure protocol. So Telnet by default, as administrative services, Telnet is not enabled here. Only SSH is enabled by default on your management interface. This is a default configuration in your Paloalto firewall. Likewise, if you are familiar with the GUI, I want to access Paloalto console GUI, and from there I want to configure the policy and object whatever to protect my network. Then GUI services can be acceptable by the help of HTTP service, HTTPS service. Okay, so from your management PC, if through your browser, you can access the Paloalto GUI console by calling HTTPS. So you can also use a HTTP, but HTTP is not a secure protocol. So your Paloalto firewall, since it's a firewall security product, so it is not trusting on non-secure protocol. Okay, so that's why they are not enabling HTTP by default under administrative services. So your management interface by default enabled with ping, HTTPS, SSH. SSH is for to access the CLI console, and HTTPS is to access the GUI console of your Palo Alto firewall. Once you got the access of console, then you can able to manage your Palo Alto firewall as administrator, whatever the rule you want to implement, whatever the service you want to enable, whatever the security protocol security like VPN implementation you want to do it, everything you can access after access the console only, right? So by default, when you have a fresh Palo Alto firewall, this is the by default setup, guys. Okay, by default configuration. IP for your management interface, dedicated management interface, that is 192.168.1.1, and this management interface by default enable with the administrative services, these three services only: ping for network reachability, SSH for CLI console, secure CLI console, and HTTPS for secure GUI console. Okay, console access, right? And as soon as you try to access now, as I shown in the diagram, you are going to connect your management PC Ethernet port with your Palo Alto firewall management port, right? And you're going to access, you're trying to access the console. You know the IP schema default one, so yeah, you have assigned the same network IP to your management PC. Now you, after checking that, you are checking the reachability. Now you have a reachability, so now you want to access the console through Palo Alto firewall console through GUI or CLI. So you are choosing any of the protocol SSH or HTTPS. So when you try to access the console, it will ask for the authentication. So credential, default username for your Palo Alto firewall, it will ask the credential as soon as you got the console, either CLI or GUI. It has to authenticate. If the valid user, then only it will present the console to configure. So username is by default, username is admin. Okay, so he has a privilege called super user. As of now, you will not able to. Super user is the privilege who has full access or full control on your Palo Alto firewall. Okay, so much about the super user we will discuss in the live session. Okay, and the password also admin, all are smaller case. Okay, so the username and password is same. Username is admin, password is admin. Okay, and management interface have a dedicated IP 192.168.1.1. Okay, when it is you are working with Palo Alto hardware firewall. Okay, if suppose you have a privilege to work with Palo Alto VM, so the credential is same, and Palo Alto VM also have a dedicated management interface, but that VM management interface if you are working with the Palo Alto VM, so you try to access the console, right? So Palo Alto VM also have a dedicated management interface, but VM management interface is configured with DHCP client. So when you are connecting your Palo Alto VM management interface with your production network, in your production network, if you have a sorry, in a production network, if you have a DHCP server, then that dedicated management interface in Palo Alto VM will get the IP address from your DHCP server. Okay, and after getting the IP, when you try to access the console through CLI and GUI, it will it will ask the credential, and the credentials are same. Username is admin, password is admin, and this DHCP enabled management interface, dedicated management interface in a VM, that interface also enabled with the administrative services, these three services: ping, SSH, HTTPS. Okay, Only the difference between the Paloalto VM and Paloalto hardware. Paloalto hardware, when you're trying to access the console very first time, Paloalto hardware have a dedicated management interface IP with a pre-configured IP address, but Paloalto VM which pre-configured with as a DHCP client. It doesn't have any dedicated static IP. It's configured with a DHCP client. So it depends on your production network. If you have a DHCP server, then you will get the IP on the Paloalto firewall management interface. Okay, and remain the privilege credentials and then administrative services on your management interface. Everything is same for Paloalto VM and Paloalto hardware, guys. Okay, clear. So let me go back to both the hardware. So in this hardware, as I mentioned, this is the management interface, and this is a console, native console. So if you don't have if you are having a restriction with the management, you no need to use a console because we already have a dedicated management interface. So we no need to use the rollover cable, I mean console cable to connect and console port to communicate to access through CLI, right? So it's not necessary because it have a dedicated management interface. So you can directly access the GUI after connect your management network with your Paloalto firewall management interface. Okay. And then if you look at that, these two interfaces additionally, this slot is for used for management purpose. Actually, it is used for redundancy purpose. One is for HA1 interface, another one is for HA2 interface. To achieve the redundancy in Paloalto, you need a pair of interfaces. So by connecting two Paloalto firewalls between as a peer by using a single connectivity, you will not able to achieve the high availability. You will not able to achieve the redundancy in Paloalto environment because it's a different approach. You must need minimum two interfaces. One interface is called HA1 interface. Another interface is called HA2 interface. Okay, so this HA1 is used to different purpose and HA2 is used for different purpose. We will see in the upcoming session. Okay, and these ports are SFP LAN SFP ports. Okay, so you can use it for your internal and external connections. So which is Ethernet, fiber over Ethernet ports. Okay, so which means SFP. Okay, SFP port. So fiber Ethernet port, and you can connect the fiber cables here by injecting the SFP inside this port. Okay, so that we will see in later. What are the connectors we have and what are the SFP plugins we have. Everything we'll see. Okay, and this is copper Ethernet. Sorry, it's an Ethernet cable, copper Ethernet. Okay, so I mean fast Ethernet cables. So you can connect the Ethernet port. You can connect for your uplinks, or you can LAN. You can connect since it's a entry level to mid level firewall. Okay. 850 is a mid level firewall, so that's why you can see limited. The ports are very less, right? So it's a entry level to mid level 800 series. Okay, so when you go for higher end firewalls, you can see a lot of ports and more throughput, the capability of interfaces, everything it will be very high. So we will discuss the data sheets in a live session when we are doing a Paloalto live session. Okay, so we'll see multiple hardware models and VM models, and we will compare the data sheets. What are the difference between each model? What by performance, by hardware utilization, right? Everything we will see. Okay, so as of now, for just in little intro, how Paloalto will look like and what are the components will be there. So for that's why I just want to show the image. Okay, so here the indicators about the hardware, like if you are having any difficulties, any issues with the HA ports, this indicator will show you, and it's about the temperature and then other fan, fan, right? So about your firewall status, how the device is properly running, right? So these indicators have a various kind of colors of LED lights. Okay, so we will see that in while doing a hardware troubleshooting. What is the purpose of this LEDs and what is the color indicators, decode everything we will see, and what if it is shown in a yellow color, if it is shown in a red color, if it is shown in a green color, what are the reasons, and what what action we have to take, everything we will discuss in a troubleshooting session, hardware based troubleshooting session. Okay, and also we have a my USB based console, and this USB to connect external storage to and you can use for backup purpose. Okay, and this is USB console. Okay, so this is a small intro about the hardware, and much we will discuss in a live session, guys. Okay, so now as the administrator, we got this PA850 model. Let's assume that. Okay, so now we have to access the console very first time. So we know that is a dedicated management interface. So we need to connect our management PC with our Paloalto firewall management interface, and we know what is after that, after connect, right? So we know that is having a dedicated management interface, that is 192.168.1.1, and user credential is admin, password is admin, and that will be enable administrative services are acceptable for the ping protocol, SSH, and HTTPS. So I can use in my management PC, I can open the browser and I can call HTTPS. By using HTTPS protocol, I can call this management IP. Then obviously I got the console and it will ask the credential. Then I can simply put on the credential here. Okay. So if the same way, if you have a Paloalto VM, so you will get you are going to connect that dedicated management interface with your management network, and management network, if you have a DHCP server, it will provide the IP, and by calling that IP, you can access the console. It's very simple. Okay. So now what we are going to do, we are going to access the console very first time to our Paloalto firewall. This is a VM firewall, guys. Okay, this is a VM based firewall. Okay. So in this VM, I have connect my physical network as my management network. So this, you can see this is the MGMT port, which is dedicated management port, and I have connected with this my physical LAN. Okay, so this physical LAN, I have one DHCP server in my wireless router. This Windows machine is nothing. This is my base machine, which I am now using for teaching purpose. This base machine is connected with my physical LAN where I have my wireless router. So in this wireless router, I have a DHCP server. So obviously I'll get the IP address on my management interface. Okay, so let me verify that. You can see that when I double click the console, when I double click the Paloalto VM image, I got a native console of Paloalto. So now you are not able to understand this tool. Okay, so I'll teach you in a live session. So how to create, how to install this tool, E1G tool and PNet tool, and how to access everything. I'll teach you. So now you don't need to worry about it. Okay. So when I access the Paloalto native console by double click on that, okay, you can see that I got some IP address from DHCP. Okay. So by calling this IP, I can access the console of my Paloalto firewall. So let me access from my management PC, which is my base machine, which I'm using to teaching purpose, right? So that PC is my management PC. If you look at that, this is the PC, and you can see my LAN subnet. So I'm connecting not directly. I have connected LAN with my wireless router Ethernet. This is that. I have 192.168.1.36 IP and /24 network. The same way, if you go to the Paloalto, I have 192.168.1.37 IP, which is same network, /24 network, right? So both are connected in the same network. So let me try to ping my Palo Alto firewall from my management PC 192.168.1.37. Sorry. Yes, I have reachability from my management PC. Once again, verify your management PC IP schema. You can see that 1.36 I have, and my Palo Alto have 1.37. So I'm trying to ping my Palo Alto. I'm having a reachability. From Palo Alto firewall, you can also ping from Palo Alto firewall. Okay. So now I know the IP. So I want to access the console directly, GUI console directly from this, using this IP in my management PC by using which protocol? HTTPS. Because by default HTTP is not acceptable. Only these three services are acceptable in my Palo Alto firewall management interface. That is HTTPS, ping, and then SSH, right? You can see that this is my Palo Alto GUI console, and it is asking for the credential. Username is admin and password also admin. I'm giving admin. Now you can see that it is asking me to change the password. Okay, so it is very easy to access the console very first time, whether if you have a VM, I mean, whether if you have a VM firewall and by if you're connected with a DHCP server, you can easily simply access. If you have a hardware firewall, you can connect manually and you can simply access, right? But now the concern is I don't want to use my predefined IP schemas. So I want to configure the IP manually, right? So through CLI, I'm not going to access the GUI console first. I'm going to access the CLI console, guys. Okay. So now go to Palo Alto firewall native console. So in this use case, in a real-time production network, what we will do, if you're not aware of the IP schema, you can just simply connect your Palo Alto firewall with console cable. Okay, so I'm just double clicking that device and I'm getting the console. It is similar to how we will connect with the native console in a real-time production network, right? The same way. So in your case, in a real, if you are working with the real-time scenario, if you're working with the real device as of now, so what you have to do, you have to connect your console cable. If you don't know what is the IP schema and all, and if you don't know management IP, you can connect your console cable with the management PC, right? Through COM port communication, just like how we will do it in a Cisco device, right? So same way you can proceed and you can access the console by using a communication for COM port, using any PuTTY or any other application which support the communication port, the console port, right? Console communication. So through that application, you can access the console, or you can, since we have a dedicated management interface, you can just access the console directly. Okay. So now this console, now in this tool, when I'm double clicking, I'm getting the CLI directly, right? So this is similar to native console type. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to access my Palo Alto. Right now I'm in a Palo Alto CLI console, and it will ask authentication. So username is admin and password is what? Remain same, admin only. And now it is asking us to change the password. So now the password I'm going to change it. So old password is admin, new password I'm going to set minimum 8 character with uppercase and lowercase and numerical values. Okay, so you should. Okay, now you can see the password has been changed, and now I am entered into the Palo Alto CLI console, and Palo Alto CLI console have two modes. So in Cisco console, right, we will say that this is a user mode, enable mode, a privilege mode, like that we have a different global configuration mode, like that we have a different kind of mode, right? In Palo Alto CLI console, we have two modes. One is operational mode. Another one is configuration mode. Okay, so operation mode, where you are going to perform the show commands, test commands, verification. Okay, show commands, test command like ping, trace, route, and then configuration verification, policy verification, right? So this kind of configuration, you are going to use, it's just used for read purpose. You cannot modify on your Palo Alto firewall anything on the operational mode. It's actually read purpose, where you're going to read your existing configuration, read and validate the existing configuration. Operational mode, where you're going to read and validate your existing configuration. You're not going to do any changes on your Palo Alto firewall in this operational mode. So this symbol denotes you are in an operational mode. Okay, this symbol denotes you are in an operational mode. So right now I am in which mode? I am in operational mode only. So operational mode, what kind of commands I can execute? I can't configure anything in my Palo Alto firewall. If I want to configure policy, if I want to enable services, if I want to do some changes, if I want to do any changes on my Palo Alto firewall, I should go with configuration mode. Operation mode, we can't do any changes. We can just read it. That's it. Whatever your existing configuration. So now since I'm in operation mode, I can execute the only read command. So as an administrator, in normal use case, if I'm not aware about the IP, what is the IP schema? And I told you, right, your Palo Alto firewall by default accept only these three services on your management interface, everything. So I just want to verify that it's really or only that three services are enabled or something else, or what is the IP schema I have, that and all I just want to verify. Here, verify means I'm just reading that information. I'm not modifying anything, right? So which means that I can do it in a operation mode, right? So this is the command to verify your IP schema. Okay. So system info is the one of the command to verify your management interface IP. Okay, let me execute that command. And you are seeing, when you're executing this command, you are seeing your Palo Alto firewall management interface IP and other some information like the versions, license setup, everything you can able to see here. Okay. And you can see the IP assignment. We are not assigning any IP. This is the IP, and this is your gateway, and this is your subnet mask, and IP assignment has been done on DHCP. Okay, and Palo Alto family, it's a VM firewall, not a hardware firewall. And what is the model? PAVM. So PAVM and KVM mode, KVM firewall. More VM. And what is the version? Everything you can see here about the license, everything you can able to see. Some more information, more than your management interface, you're able to see that right now. Sorry, unfortunately, I chosen Palo Alto 10. Version. Okay, so in my tool, we have a latest version 11.x. Now we are using 11.x version, so that is also available in a real-time product. In a live session, we will use 11.x version. Okay, so anyhow, initial configuration is same for 10.x and 11.x, whatever. So you can just same procedure only. I forget to choose 11. I just added with a 10. Let me. Let me add this. Both the procedures are same only. Okay. So you can able to see the version, the license, everything when you're using source system info command. Okay, along with management interface. Okay, but you want to know dedicatedly, you want to know what is my management interface like. So we do have other command. So interface management. This is the command to know your management interface detail, like what is the IP schema and what is the interface mode, duplex mode, how enable packet transmission, everything you can see. Okay, but in both these two commands, we are not able to see about the management interface administrative services. Did you anywhere else you are seeing that administrative services like ping, SSH, telnet, anything you are seeing like that? Not right, because that for to know that you need to use a different command. Okay, so that is now we are reading the information, right? So you can execute this command in an operational mode itself. So you have to give this command. So system services. This is the command, system services, administrative services. So this is the command to know what is your management interface, administrative services, what are the services are enabled by default. And you can see that HTTP, it says it's disabled. HTTPS, it says it's enabled, right? So which means HTTPS is accepted. Telnet, you can see that by default it is disabled. Okay. And what about SSH? By default it is enabled. What about ping? By default it is enabled. But SNMP other services are disabled. Okay. So that's why I said when the device is coming from the factory, so default settings are administrative services only accept ping, HTTPS, SSH. Okay, and you know why we are using ping? For network reachability. And why we are using HTTPS? For to access the GUI console of Paloalto fan. Why we are using SSH console? We are accessing the CLI. To access the CLI console, right? So now in this IP, I don't want to go with this DHCP client IP. I just want DHCP server IP. I just want to go with dedicated management IP. So static IP, I want to assign it. Okay. So in that case, I want to assign the IP. So am I able to assign the IP here? Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a SSH console from my management PC. And now I have connected my management PC, right? So what is my management IP? That is 192.168.1.37 through putty. Okay. So that it will be little accept the SSH. Yes, log in with your Paloalto. By default username is admin and password is we have changed already password. So you have to give your new password. And now you can see this is the Paloalto CLI console. And right now I'm in which mode? I'm in operation mode. So if you want to execute the show, I'm in operation mode. We can execute only show command, test command, like ping. Suppose I'm going to ping with my management PC. 36 or 37? No. Let me verify that. Not 36 only. Bring here. Yeah, I'm able to be reachable to my gateway, my LANs, my management network. I am able to reach. So I'm just checking. This is the test command, right? I'm executing through operational mode. So likewise, to know my management interface, you have to use show system info to the command or show interface management. This is the command to verify your management interface. And likewise, right? So if I want to know what all the administrative services are enabled, so system services. Okay, you can see that. So now I want to change IP for my management interface. So I need to do some configuration changes. Right now I'm in which mode? Operation mode. Operation mode, I can't do any changes in my Paloalto firewall, right? So I need to enter into the configuration mode. To enter into the configuration mode, you have to give the keyword called configure and hit enter, and you can see that this hash symbol denotes you are in a configuration mode. Okay, if you see in your console, after your host name of your Paloalto firewall, you see the hash symbol, then you are in a operational mode. Sorry, configuration mode. Okay, so now here you can change the IP everything. So to change the IP, I'm going to use. I need to assign the IP address, right? So you need to use this command set. Set means I'm writing on something on my Paloalto firewall, and set device config in my management interface, management plane. I'm going to do some configuration changes, right? So set device by configuration in my system denotes your management plane. Okay, so set device config system, and then you need to assign the IP address there. So IP address, there are two type of IP address or IPv4 or IPv6. So I'm going to assign the IPv4 IP address. Okay, IP address. What is the IP? In my management network, I want to assign the IP. This is my management network as of now, 190.168.1.0/24 network. So I'm going to assign the IP 190.168.1.100 for this Paloalto firewall as a management interface and static method, right? So let me assign the IP 192.168.1.100, and then we need to define the subnet mask. So you need to give the keyword called net mask, and that is /24 value. So that is 255.255.255.0, right? That. So now IP has been assigned for this interface. Okay, so now I want to verify. We just execute this command, right? So we have assigned the IP address and we have given a subnet mask. Everything is fine. So additionally, we need to give a default gateway. Add some command. Additionally, default gateway. My default gateway is 192.168.1.1 for this network, right? So through that 1.1 only I can reach some other network. This is my gateway, 192.168.1.1. So that's it. So fully I have assigned the IP address, right? So I need to verify that whether it is successfully assigned or not. So I need to execute the show command here. So show commands, you can execute only operation mode, right? But in just similarly in Cisco, we will execute the privilege mode command through in the configuration mode or global configuration mode by using do as the prefix keyword and then using the same command. The same way in Palo Alto, if you want to execute the operational mode command in configuration mode, so you have to use the keyword prefix keyword called run. Okay, so run you have to use. So what is the command to verify your management interface? That is show system show interface management, right? Or show system info. So right now, if you're trying to execute show system, you can see that you are not going to get any help, or you can see you are getting the syntax error, right? It's because we are executing this operation mode command in a configuration mode, but that is not possible directly. You need to use the prefix keyword, so you have to use run. So system, you can see that I'm getting the help as well by clicking the tab key. Okay, so system info, and now you can see I'm getting the result. And we have assigned the IP 192.168.1.100, but still it is used, is there in an existing DHCP IP only. You can see that the client IP assignment still it is a DHCP. Okay, it is not updated. The reason, in your Palo Alto firewall, IP assignment method we are not yet changed. Okay, so you all after giving the IP or before giving the IP, first of all you need to change the IP assignment mode. So for that you have to use the keyword set device. This is the command, set device config system type. So what type of IP assignment method you want to, DHCP or static? It's already in a DHCP method, so I want to make that system interface management interface as a static IP assignment method. So you have to use a static method. Now IP assignment is changed to static, and we assigned the IP as well. Okay, right? So now I'm going to execute. I'm going to verify once again whether it is updated or not. Run. So system info, and still you can see that still it's using the same IP and still it is using the manage IP assignment method as a DHCP only. The reason, when you're doing some changes in your Palo Alto firewall, okay, when you're doing some changes in your Palo Alto firewall, you need to do commit. Then only your Palo Alto firewall will apply the changes whatever you did. Else, it will use the existing configuration only. The changes will not be reflected as like no, in Cisco devices. Whatever the configuration you're doing, it will be updated automatically, updated in your current running configuration, right? But in your Palo Alto firewall, it's not like that. The configuration changes will not be applied directly until unless you are going to save the changes. So you to save the changes, whatever the changes you have done, you need to use command called commit and hit enter. Once the commit is done, your changes will be applied properly, guys. Okay. the changes has been committed successfully 100%, I mean, then only the changes will be applied properly. Okay. Now, actually, the commit is done properly. Why we are not getting a report means, so we access the console through the old IP, and you can see that connection terminated because the IP has been successfully changed. So that is right now 192.168.1.100. Okay, so you can go to the Paloalto direct console and you can verify that. So system info. Now you can see that 192.168.1.100 IP schema is now static from DHCP client to static. Okay, so now previously I have taken a console through SSH from my management PC by calling my management IP. So that IP has been changed. So that's why that connection has been terminated. Now I need to take a console of my Paloalto firewall through my management PC by calling my Paloalto firewall management IP, that is 192.168.1.100. Okay. And you can see I got a console access and username is admin, password is new password which we have changed, not a default password, and now verify. So system info. I'm in operation mode. I can execute the verification commands, test commands. So system info is the command to verify my management interface IP. And you can see that. So whatever the IP you have changed. So now by using this IP, you can access the now we have accessed the Paloalto console through CLI, right? Now I am going to enter into the access the Paloalto firewall through GUI, and I'm going to show you how Paloalto GUI console will be look like. Okay. So and further about the CLI console and advanced commands, everything we will see in our upcoming live session. So now I just want to show you what is Paloalto firewall GUI console and how it will look like, what are the menus will be there, and everything. I just want to give you small walkthrough. So now I'm going to access this Paloalto firewall console from my management PC browser, right? So using HTTPS protocol. Username is admin, password is new password. Okay. And this is your Paloalto CL GUI console, guys. So you can see a lot of menu here, dashboard, ACC, monitor, and policy, right? So I just want to give you a quick walkthrough about this. So dashboard, it's a widget where you can see some system or your Paloalto firewall information, like what is the administrator is, how many administrators are logged in, and through which console, what type of console they have taken, right? And then other information like what any configuration changes they have done or not, right? So who did the configuration changes, what is the device wise log, system log, everything, any changes you have done in your Paloalto firewall, that will be updated in this dashboard. Okay, this dashboard we can modify that system. A lot of widgets we have system wise, hardware based, I mean your firewall, management based widgets, and application utilization. So application utilization, so where you can see the statistics about application which in your production network widely used application. What are the applications are used, and the riskable application and widely used application, and that and all you can able to see in this widget. This is a dashboard, so you can see some information about your Paloalto firewall and your live production network. Okay, like hardware utilization of your Paloalto firewall, right? Everything you can, and then high availability status, interface status, right? So whether the interfaces are a go-to system, and if you add interface, and you can see how many data interfaces are there in your Paloalto firewall, and you can see that here it will show any interfaces, what are the interfaces are up, what are the interfaces are down. That visibility you can able to see here. It's for just know about your hardware, your production network and your Palo device as well, guys. Okay. So likewise, ACC menu and dashboard, ACC menu, monitor, right? So all these three menus used for monitoring purpose. So you can know about the device information and the hardware status, and then device operating system utilization, resource utilization, right? And the configuration logs, data logs, all that information you can see in the dashboard. It's used for monitoring purpose as well. Okay, and ACC also used for the monitoring purpose. So where you are able to see widely used application in your last 1 hour activities or last 1 week activities, right? 30 days, 60 days activities in your production network. Like what are the threads are identified, what are the blocked application or URLs are accessed, try to access in your production network, right? What are the sessions are going on, exploit session, right? So all this information you can get to know by using this ACC menu, and this is also used for monitoring purpose. Okay, and monitor, it's about the live traffic. For further more depth information you can see in this monitor menu. So you can see the logs of your live traffic. So like by if the traffic contain any virus, malware, spyware that you can see, and the thread or any URL filter, like if you are apply any URL to block and that URL filter is detected, and that will be it will be listed here. Likewise, user based filter, right? So all you can able to see here under monitor, and then you can take a report and live session information you can able to see by using the session information, and you can take the report as well, and you can forward the logs to the log servers as well. So everything you are doing from here only. Okay, and if in your Palo Alto firewall you are going to create a policy for to allow or deny some services, and NAT policy, authentication policy, any QoS policy if you're applied, all the policy will be handled in this menu under policy menu. And if you are enabling the services, or you are going to create some IP address as an object, or if you're creating the next generation firewall profile as an object, here we are if you want to use antivirus profile in your security policy or spyware vulnerability protection, if you want to use URL filter, everything you are going to create here, and then you are going to attach in your policy. So you cannot directly attach in your policy. You need to first define that profile in under object menu, and that object has been to be that object has to be updated on in your policy. Okay. So any next generation firewall features you want to apply, that you need to create as object here only under object menu. And if you want to handle your L3 based features like routing and then interface configuration, VPN configuration, right? Everything you are going to configure under network menu, and anything regarding your device wise administration, like taking a backup, configuration management, and then you're creating the multiple admin user account, the admin privileges, administrator management, right? So device wise your management interface. Under network, you can see data interfaces. Ethernet 1 to 8. We have assigned one interface IP for management interface, right? You are not able to see that here because this is for data interfaces. We do have a dedicated management interface that you can see under device management Okay, and go to interfaces, device setup, and go to interfaces and choose management. And this is what your management interface. And you can see that by default, these three services only enable. If you want to accept the HTTP service, telnet services, then you can just enable it manually here. Okay. So, and if you want to make this as a DHCP client, then you can change it like here. Okay. So I don't want to go with that. I want to go with the dedicated IP. So this is related to your management interface, management plane, and device-wise administration, like where you are going to take a backup and restore, where you are going to configure the high availability, and where you are going to do integrate with other third-party tools and devices for the administrative purpose, and to achieve the some other services we need. Let's say we want to authenticate the user-based authentication, so we need to integrate Active Directory server, LDAP server. So that under comes under the device administration. So everything you can able to do under device menu only, guys. Okay. Local user database if you want to create, or other remote user database you want to integrate, like sensor upgradation, patch update, all you are going to do it under device menu. Okay, these are all the menus we have. Totally we have 7 menus. So each have lot of features, submenus, everything we will see in our upcoming live session, guys. Okay, so this is just a quick walkthrough about the GUI console. Okay, and much more about the features and menus. We will everything we'll discuss in our live sessions. Okay, so any doubts as of now? Any queries, guys? Any doubts? You can raise your hand and I can unmute you and you can able to, and then you can ask your queries, guys. Okay.